Hi everybody and welcome back. Today what I wanted to talk to you all about is some common video frame rates that you'll find commonly. Yeah, that was kind of redundant, wasn't it? Anyway, 23.976 or 23.98 frames per second is the NTSC. That means us in North America. We often shoot 23.976 or 23.98 instead of true 24. Then we also have true 24. Okay, sometimes also called 24 hertz, 24.000, etc., etc. Okay, you got 25. That's most commonly found in other parts of the world, such as European countries. Okay, then we've got 29.97, which is NTSC, again, North America, 30 frames per second. And then there's true 30, but again, pretty rare. Then you have, upon going up more, you have 48 frames per second, which again is like 47 point something NTSC often. And then you have true 48, you have 50 frames per second. And lastly, you have the last two common frame rates that gets used is 59.94 frames per second. Again, North America / NTSC, 60 frames per second equivalents, and then true 60 frames per second. So right now you are looking at me in 23.98. I'm not going to show you true 24 because it looks basically the same. With a flip of the switch of my fingers, we'll be in 30 frames per second. And now look everybody, we're in 30 frames per second. This is what 30 frames per second looks like. This is something that might look a lot like television news, for example, which is commonly shot at 30 frames per second, though some television news broadcasts are shot at 60. And again, when I say 60, I'm usually referring to 59.94 and 29.97 when I refer to 30. So again, this is actually 29.97 frames per second, not true 30. There's really no point in showing you true 30 though, it's basically the same thing. So now, why don't we try a bigger number? Let's go all the way up to 60 frames per second. Again, 59.94. And just like that, everybody, now I've set my fingers again, and we're at 59.94 frames per second. Again, NTSC or North American, 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second, the actual round number, I'm not going to show you because, again, these tiny fractional differences do not really show up in a way that's visible. It's really just more for compliance with what a broadcaster might want or what you need to shoot with your other cameras for synchronization, etc. So for example, with my cameras, I shoot everything at 23.98, not 24 even, because I am shooting 23.98 because my other cameras, excluding my Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro that you're seeing me on right now, actually do not allow me to be able to make it all happen at true 24 hertz, and thus they would slowly drift farther and farther apart. And sometimes I like to run with multiple cameras. Plus, 23.98 is just kind of the more standardized frame rate anyway. Why don't we go back to 24 frames per second and I'll finish this video up. Folks, anyway, that's just a little bit about the frame rates. Now, if you want to know why we had those weird oddball frame rates, in a nutshell, it's because many decades ago, the US switched from black and white to compatible color, which was some technology developed by, I believe it was RCA. I'm doing this off the top of my head. And because of complicated math that we don't need to get into for today's video, basically we had to drop the frame rate of the video feed from the true 30 frames per second, 60 interlaced, to 29.97. That's fractional, tiny bit of a difference. I think you divide 30 by 1.0001 and you get the exact right decimal point if you want to get really picky about it. But anyway, folks, frame rates. What can I say? I guess you could just say it's all a frame of mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye, everybody.
And action.